Hello! Well, this is the most unique start screen I have ever seen. This is Truth. And we start. There's no options, just start. It runs like shit. Because you don't give me any options, probably.
Welcome to Truth, the game show where we award a $1 million prize.
Okay, at least this
to
bit runs
contestant
properly.
Chosen by our audience. We have 6 challengers hooked up to lie detectors.
Trying to find the truth.
I'll be
Who is
monitoring.
lying?
In every round, we ask each of them
Okay, they've
5
got lie
questions
detectors. Do we
chosen
get
by
to
our
see?
audience. Then we vote
Or is
one
it only
off
him?
based on their answers. Let's meet our contestants.
As meet our contestants. Is
Why
that
don't
Harry
you each
Kim?
Tell me a little about yourself.
It is, isn't it? It's Harry Kim, all grown up.
I'm Joe. I'm 28, and I'm
I
from
don't know who
Philly.
Joe is.
Go Eagles.
It's cheap.
My name is Alexis, and I'm born and
what-
raised in Beverly Hills.
Grease man.
My name is Sam. Hello.
That guy has unusual
And I
eyes.
recently moved out here to Hollywood to get in the film industry.
Pie.
And I've been writing a long time before I even
I
got
see
to
a
town.
scriptwriter.
And I've got a lot of
Okay,
scripts.
okay.
I'm willing to show them. Hit me up.
Eyes of
And I'm
cringe.
very excited to be on the show.
I'm Autumn. I'm a California native. And
Where's
I
spring,
grew up
summer,
right
and winter?
here in Los Angeles.
And this
Hi, I'm
lady,
Claire.
who was in Supernatural.
I've never been on TV before.
Just a few
I'm
things.
so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
So she actually playing herself,
I
and
go
then
by
we've got
Lilith,
a golf.
And I'm from Van Nuys, California.
Hello.
Let's see what the audience wants to ask first.
Do I get to choose? Ooh, okay. No mouse controls. Okay, all keyboard. That's unusual. So I'm guessing there are 6 questions because there are 6 round things at the top. There's a pie on the right hand side, some sort of pie chart that will be grown up. Okay, so many questions. Okay, if you could have any superpower, what would you choose? What advice would you give to your younger self? What is your biggest fear? What is your childhood dream? If you could have any job, what would it be? Who would you want to be on stranded on a desert island? What do you do for a living? Well, I mean, that would eliminate if TV show lady is lying. Does she have to lie every time? Or can they tell the truth occasionally to hide the lies? We haven't been told. Like, do they have to lie? Is that one of the rules? What we like as a child? If you found a wallet, would you return to it? What's your proudest accomplishment? What was your happiest memory? What's your most unusual pet peeve? Describe a typical day in your life. What's your most unusual talent? What's the most serious law you've ever broken? Have you ever cheated on anyone? This guy probably has. Ask at the trolley problem. No. What's your favourite holiday? What's your worst way you've been betrayed by a friend? Or you've betrayed a friend. Most embarrassing guilty pleasure. What's the dumbest thing you've ever did? What's your biggest regret? Most controversial or unpopular opinion. Embarrassing memory. What would you do with the money? Like, the embarrassing memory seems like it'd be a good one, but it's not necessarily good for wheedling out the truth and the lies. Controversial or unpopular opinion. Again, good question. Worst way you betrayed a friend. I kind of want to know what's the most serious law people have ever broken. Describe typical way of day in your life. Could also be pretty good for wheedling out the truth and lies. My eye is something is in my eye. Let's find out what's the most serious law they've ever broken.
What is the most serious law you've ever broken?
I used to shoplift as a kid. I also used to do a ton of underage drinking.
Okay, so this guy's
I'm not
just,
a lawyer, so I
playing
don't know
a
which one's
role.
worse, but whichever one's worse, I guess, would be my answer.
They're not that bad. Wait, we just asked Kim? Oh, I see. I see. Right, okay. So the things at the top, and we've got 5 questions that we can ask each person, and then we ask them individual questions. I see. Okay, I want to know what the most serious law. Also, they all have their own music. That music doesn't fit her. I can see it. Why is she sad meme music? It's just the sad meme music. So very cheery, happy goth music.
What's the most serious law you've ever broken?
International piracy law. When I was lost at sea one time, I thought all was lost.
Oh, so not piracy as in you
pirate ship came by
downloaded
and actually
stuff from the
rescued me?
internet.
Now, you've heard bad things about pirates, and so had I, but they could not have been nicer. They gave me a job to do on ships so that I could earn my keep when I was there, and everything was going great until they got superstitious. They are
No, they're women on
superstitious,
boats, right?
They thought for some reason it might be bad luck that I was on board with them. So they were just about to drop me off when we got raided by a Russian Navy ship who put us all in a Russian jail for 5 years
5 years.
for piracy.
Jesus. That's horrible, but you got... totally a lie though, right? There's no way you went to prison for 5 years. Suspicious. But if that was true, she ends to keep on the piracy vessel, but going to jail for 5 years for just being kidnapped. And also, there's superstition that you're not allowed women working on a boat, but, surely they'd have got rid of her quicker than that. And I don't know, I don't think she would have stayed working on a pirate boat even if she did get out. And I don't know, it's very suspicious. So I don't think it's her. Or, I think she's lying. I don't think she's telling the truth. Do we eliminate after 5 questions and eliminate one? Okay. Let me guess, he slept with the friend's girlfriends.
What is the worst way you've betrayed a friend?
Oh man, dude. For years, my friend John used to sell my friend Keith weed, but it wasn't weed, it was kale. He would sell him kale instead of weed. And Keith didn't know. For years, I was watching Keith pack bongs with kale, and that wasn't working. So then he would make kale brownies, and he had no idea. And I should have told him, but it was just too funny.
I mean, he would have surely realized, right? What's her most controversial or unpopular
What is your most controversial or unpopular opinion?
Okay. There's this James Bond movie called The World Is Not Enough, where Denise Richards plays a physicist. Everyone was making fun of it, saying that she did a terrible job and that it was sexist of them to cast her. Here's the thing. She did fine. If she was more plain looking, I guarantee nobody would have said anything. The people who are saying that it was sexist.
That's not really controversial or
They
unpopular.
don't believe that a woman can be hot and smart enough to be a scientist. And that's the most sexist thing you can do.
Yeah, it's not really controversial. That's just a fact. You said, she was good looking and a smart scientist, so what? That's not controversial or unpopular. Unless you're a dumbass fucking twat. Let's face it. What would this guy do with money? I bet he could do some interesting things, write a million scripts.
What would you do with the money?
Hire people to make his movie.
Well, I've been working on a film
hire
for
people to
several
make his
years. It's kind of like my main baby when it comes to screenwriting, but I haven't had the capital to produce it. It's a superhero film, but get this. In most superhero movies, someone gets powers. They either become the good guy or the bad guy. What if they just still remain a guy and they don't use the powers? Maybe they try
That
them
sounds
out,
boring.
but then they're like, you know what? I'm just going to stick to my regular life. And
Nah, that's a really boring
it's a
movie.
superhero film that turns into just a slice of life normal guy film because he doesn't use them. And then at the end, When you think he's like, oh, he's about to save the day, the powers get reversed and he loses them.
Nah, total boring ass film. No one's gonna watch that. This guy would kill people with the trolley problem. What's his biggest regret? What's the dumbest thing that he did? Like, again, you know, he seems to just be telling the truth. What's the most serious law he's ever broken? He's probably downloaded things illegally. Unusual talents. This guy might have something unusual.
What's your most unusual talent?
I'd say my most unusual talent is that I can solve a Rubik's Cube in under 2 minutes. And, you know, it's not a world record or anything, but it's pretty good. You know, I'll break it out sometimes, maybe if I want to impress a date.
Yeah, it's not going to impress any date.
And then I'll
Let's
say,
face
now
it.
you try. Actually, that has had the opposite effect, though.
Yeah, no shit.
Because
No
they
charisma.
thought that I was rubbing it in their face that I was so good at it. And then I tried to tell
Just a
them
little.
that I wasn't trying to brag.
No, of course not. You're just showing off.
I'm
And you
good at
think
making
that that's
things
gonna...
awkward too. That's a pretty good talent of mine as well. But yeah, I'll stick with the Rubik's Cube.
Yeah, like, it's not really that unusual, is it? It's just, you know, doing a Rubik's Cube fast. Like, people can learn to do that. Like, there's literally a stupid... All you have to do is memorize how to turn the specific things, and you can just do it quick. You know, it's like make one side and then just do a repeated cycle. Ugh. I never bothered to learn that because it's just dumb, you know? And it's not impressive. You know that there's a very specific thing that you need to do. All you need to do is make one face quick, which is easy enough, and then it's like, just do the same cycle of things until, hey, it's miraculously solved. Not impressive. Not impressive at all, and it's not smart. So yeah, like, you know, anyone can learn the pattern that you need to do to make it literally solve itself once you've got one face, and making one face is easy. And I deliberately never learned it because, you know, it just ruins the point of the whole thing once you know that. So, no thanks. What's her biggest regrets?
What is your biggest regret?
Working normal jobs and living a normal life as long as I did. I was always miserable when I was working. Even when I was off the clock, I was miserable. So I got out of the rat race a few years ago and...
Oh yeah, you just left. Lucky you, you have the money to just leave. Has she cheated on anyone? Not likely. She might have an unusual pet peeve.
What's your most unusual pet peeve?
Okay, Harry. What's your most unusual pet
People
peeve?
throw away plastic bottles with the cap screwed on. I understand that people are busy and can't always do much to help the environment, but all they have to do in this case is not screw the cap back on. If they put the cap on, then there's air trapped in the bottle.
There's
and it
also
won't
this
flatten
bit.
out in
There's
the
a different
landfill.
type of plastic.
Just leave the cap off, and the bottle will get crushed and will take up way less space. It literally takes less than no effort.
Actually, you're doing that for like literally the wrong reason. Because it will crush. They have industrial crushers. And I don't care what you say, leaving the cap on is not going to prevent it being crushed. It'll pop and blow up, but, you know, it'll still get crushed. And, you know, maybe they're not going to use industrial crushers, but they do. They put the things on conveyor belts that go into industrial crushers, and then it goes and gets shipped off to landfill. They don't just throw it in naturally. The whole point is that this plastic is not recyclable. This plastic is. And there's this little awkward bit that was also not recyclable and is stupidly stupid to get off. So, you know, everyone just leaves that on. But, yeah. But it's not about it getting crushed or not. It's the fact that this is a different type of non-recyclable plastic is why it's a problem. Plus, it doesn't go to landfill. It gets recycled! At least in this country, because we've got a specific plastics bin for recycling, and it gets recycled. Look, recycle me! But you have to take the plastic lid off because the plastic lid is not recyclable. So, your entire argument is null and void. It doesn't go to landfill. It gets recycled. Recycle it. Don't send it to landfill. Get it Recycled! Let's see a typical day in this goth's life.
Describe a typical day in your life.
I wake up. I eat breakfast. I feed my familiars. I go to work. When I get home, I like to relax and work on my bug collection.
Pretty normal. Didn't do nothing special there. I expected a bit more special. What do you do for a living? She probably works with animals or something. Nobody. She doesn't want to spend on an island with anyone. If you could have a job, what would it be? What was your childhood dream? Biggest fear? Why is there a red option there? I'm sure we can get something more interesting here. What's your embarrassing guilty pleasure?
What's your most embarrassing guilty pleasure?
I like to turn off movies at the sad part, right before the end, and say that's the ending. It works for every movie. For example, in action movies, where it looks like the hero is lost. In romantic comedies, where the couple breaks up, and it looks like they'll never see each other again.
Interesting take.
You get a much more satisfying ending that way. You should try it.
Interesting take, yeah, for certain. Okay, so this lady and movie lady. It's one more question to make them even. What's her most embarrassing memory?
What is your most embarrassing memory?
Oh gosh, there's been quite a few things in my life that are embarrassing, but you know those people on trains that go around checking everyone's tickets that they've got the right tickets? Well, it was my high school reunion and I pretended that I was one of those people, that was my job, so that everyone would think I was really successful. But then it turned out in the group there was somebody who was a real ticket checker and they told everyone that I wasn't. They didn't, like, I didn't have that job. They knew I didn't, like, they never saw me at work. It was so embarrassing.
Well, they never see you at work because you're literally on different trains, so, you know. But she's a liar. She's absolutely lying. What's the dumbest thing she ever did? That might be interesting.
What is the dumbest thing you ever did?
I once bought this outfit and I posted on Instagram #newoutfit. What I didn't realize is that I posted in the same exact outfit that I bought a few months earlier. People thought I was lying, but I just forgot that I bought the same outfit. People still bring it up in the comments to this day.
Fair enough. Like I said, this guy's probably cheated on something. Unusual talent, probably chugging a whole barrel of beer upside down, right?
What's your most unusual talent?
I could change my own oil. I could also fix a flat. You know, people used to know how to do that stuff. That was like common knowledge. But nowadays, no one knows how to do jack shit.
I know how to change oil. I know how to change the tire. Easy. I know how to change spark plugs. I did motor vehicle studies in high school.
Common guy stuff. Or girl stuff. Whatever. Anymore. I don't know. Everyone's so sheltered.
It's just typical, I'm a cat from the 80s. Right? What advice would you give your young self? Childhood dream be a biker gang from America. If you could have a biker gang, would you like someone, probably the Fonz? What do you do for a living? Probably works in a shit shop. He wouldn't return it. Proudest accomplishment, chugging beer, happy memory, unusual pet peeve, typical day in his life. Let's see a typical day in his life.
Describe a typical day in your life.
I wake up, I eat, I go to work, come home, I eat, I watch TV, and then I go to bed.
Yeah, pretty ordinary. I guess the trolley problem is probably the only good thing we could probably get out of this guy. These questions are shit for him.
You're the conductor on a runaway trolley. There are 5 people ahead of you on the tracks who cannot get off the tracks in time. If you continue forward, you will run over and kill all 5. You cannot stop the trolley, but you can change to an alternate track where there is only one person on it. If you decide to change tracks, the 5 people on the first track will live, but the one person on the alternate track will be run over and
He'll let
die.
all 5 die.
Do you change tracks?
Wait, I'm a trolley conductor for a living? How did I end up doing that to make ends meet? I mean, geez, forget the people on the tracks. If I ever sank so low I'm driving a trolley, I'd probably jump in front of it just to end my miserable life. Jeez. No thanks.
Well, that was a different answer to what I was expecting. Okay, I mean, his pie's full, but it's still allowed. She's probably cheated on someone. Embarrassing guilty pleasure. Let's see that.
What is your most embarrassing guilty pleasure?
Prima Cinema. It's this service where you can watch a new movie at home the day it's released in theaters. I love watching movies.
She had to take
I have
60
home
cuts
theater,
of this.
so why wouldn't I use it?
Why did she have to have 60 cuts of that? Would she do the money? She probably doesn't need the money. Favourite holiday? Probably somewhere rich. Let's see her unusual pet peeve.
What's your most unusual pet peeve?
Pet peeve.
Dogs.
When my chihuahua poops in my purse. I carry her around everywhere in my bag.
Somehow I knew.
I wish they made like a harness so I can carry her around like a purse. And then they had pockets so I wouldn't need another purse at all.
So just a purse, but he can poop out of it. So a purse with a hole for his poop. You know what? It could work. A dog purse that just has it pooping out, but then it's gonna poop on your dress. So it's actually not a good thing. You know? This guy being stranded on an island might be an interesting
If you were going to be stranded on an island with one person of your choosing, who would it be?
If I was going to be stranded on a desert island with one person, who would I pick? It's not an easy question. I have 7 billion choices. Okay.
Why is he so much quieter?
Yep. So, a lot of people are probably going to pick someone who's like really attractive or like a great conversationalist, very entertaining.
Someone practical?
Vladimir Putin. And
Why?
It's not because I'm a fan.
The man that's going to war with everyone.
I was
Sure.
on that island and just what, Putin just magically appears there? That means I've taken the biggest despot in the world, the most evil person walking the earth today, and he's out of circulation.
Okay.
I don't think in good conscience I would pass up that choice.
I can
Because
see
he's so
your
much
logic
good for
there
so
then,
many people.
okay.
And then
Fair
it's me,
enough.
it's him, and if he wants to annex something, he'd have to annex my supply of coconuts. That's
Annex
it.
these nuts.
The people of Ukraine are okay. No World War III. That's, yeah, no regrets. It's Putin. Let's go.
Fair enough, fair enough. I can see where you're going with that. It's probably Guys doesn't probably have any happy memories. He won't have cheated on anyone. He couldn't even pull with his Rubik's Cube. He's probably going to kill everyone with the trolley problem. Favourite holiday? Worst, most embarrassing guilty pleasure?
What is your most embarrassing guilty pleasure?
Yeah, my most embarrassing guilty pleasure. I like to go back and rewatch the cartoons from my childhood. I don't do it all the time, but when I think of one and I haven't seen it in a while, I'll look it up, I'll see where it's streaming or where I can find it, and then I will watch the crap out of it from front to back.
The literal dork.
Relive my childhood a little bit. Maybe take out some of my old action figures.
Eyes of cringe.
Yeah, that is...
Yeah, quite embarrassing.
Guilty pleasure.
Quite embarrassing. What's her unpopular
What is your
opinion?
most controversial or unpopular opinion?
Owning pets is wrong and should be illegal. If your dog or cat isn't free to come and go as they please, they're not your pet, they're your prisoner.
No, that is an unpopular opinion, but Jesus Christ. What law has she broken? Or unusual talents? I'm curious about
What is your
unusual
most
talents.
unusual talent?
I know how to survive in the wilderness. I can tell what's edible. I can build a shelter and a fire. I can clean water so it's safe to drink. Just survival skills in general.
I mean,
I don't
cleaning
like being
water
dependent on money
is
or on
impressive.
society, so I learned how to get by on my own.
Oh, that's how she left the rat race. She just left the world entirely. She lives in a commune where you just make your own food and live and filter your own water and everything. Because she's lying. She might have some really, really interesting things.
What is your most controversial or unpopular opinion?
Most people think you need milk to eat cereal. I completely disagree. It's so extortionate. The prices of milk.
Yeah, the price of milk has
nowadays,
literally
I mean,
doubled this year.
No way. I just use water, and it's delicious. I love my cereal with water when I
You are
can find
lying.
cereal.
Oh yeah, famous TV actress when you can find cereal, so like you can clearly afford milk. So again, complete lie from her. I think she hates it. I think she hates water on cereal. Water on cereal is not good. Some people use juice on it. But, you know, again, at this day and age, maybe like nut milk is literally the same price as the expensive stupid normal milk now.
What is your most unusual pet peeve?
Unusual pet peeve. Well, I tell you, there's a phrase that people overuse all the time, and it really does my head in because people say lightning never strikes twice. Well, I can tell you it does. It struck me 4 times, so that phrase is total nonsense. It's a bum steer.
Yeah, I doubt you've been struck by lightning 4 times. Very much doubt you've been struck by lightning 4 times. Like, I've had one split, apparently, according to my sister, over my head once. And one time where I was working in a shop and it was thundering heavily and they wanted me to take the metal basket in from outside and it struck right in front of me. I was like, nah, I'm not going outside and touching that shit. But yeah, like, you know, it's very rare that you'd even be struck by lightning once, let alone 4 times. Don't care. I just want to see what would be the best for a lie. Typical day in her life. I mean, you know, they would definitely show if she's lying, wouldn't it? Let's see a typical day in her life. It's going to be ridiculously over-exaggerated
Describe
and
a
not
typical
remotely
day
correct.
in your life.
A typical day in my life is searching for my missing daughter, Mallory. And, really it is one of the big benefits to being homeless and unemployed.
Oh yeah,
is
you're
I have no
homeless as
ties,
well.
nothing holding me back and stopping me from hitchhiking out there, getting on the road, heading to the last town that I've heard that she was in. When I get to the town, usually I find out that she's just left there suddenly. So I'll search for a soup kitchen or a dumpster, get something nice to eat, and then maybe a place to shelter until I hit the road again the next morning trying to find Mallory.
I thought it'd be harder to find the liar. But, pretty obvious lie. Homeless, the missing daughter that she spends every day searching for, dumpster diving, and, she's definitely got no job either, even though she is a TV star and has money. Homeless, unemployed, looking for a daughter, lives from dumpster to dumpster and soup kitchen to soup kitchen. Don't think that's quite correct.
What is your most embarrassing memory?
When I was 6 years old, my parents forced me to attend the birthday party of the girl who lived next door. They fed me copious amounts of candies, cakes, ice cream.
Oh, you were happy.
I got caught up in such a sugar rush. I
And
actually
all we
participated in
games.
their games. The worst part was, afterwards, many of these peasants actually thought we were friends.
I mean, she's acting, but if there's one person that's a liar, it's clearly the famous actress. It's the most serious law she's ever broken. Probably the law of nature and summoning demons.
What's the most serious law you have ever broken?
See, the problem with that question is that you need to be caught, tried, and convicted for you to be breaking the law.
I mean, it's not true. You
Now
can be
say I
breaking the
shoot
law
someone.
without being caught.
Was it self-defense? Was it manslaughter? Was it murder? Until it gets in front of a jury, we just don't know.
Okay, so her character has killed somebody.
And I'm not dumb enough to get caught and have to be put in front of a jury.
But never been caught. This guy's probably got an unusual pet.
What is your most unusual pet peeve?
My most unusual pet peeve would be when I'm watching either a superhero show or a movie or maybe something about a crime fighter. They're always using their
So he really doesn't like
They're
superheroes using their
always
superpower,
fighting
does he?
crime. Time out. Let's see a little bit of the rest of their day-to-day. Because
I mean,
in real
Superman
life,
does
like,
that.
if you're-
You see his
like,
normal
let's say
life a
your
bit.
job
But
is-
for the most part, it's boring.
FBI.
No one wants to see
You're
that.
not always in the FBI. You go home and you're with your wife and kids.
Plus, they do
or
show
you go
side
to the
plots
movies,
where, like,
or
they
eat a
have
burrito.
relationships and
I
things.
want to see that. Batman. Okay, you're fighting crime at night, usually. What about during the day? What about when you have to go into Wayne Enterprises? Let's see a whole Batman movie that's just about...
Doesn't need to be the whole movie, but they do show
Bruce
bits of it.
Wayne in board meetings, signing checks, looking over the budget. He's a billionaire. Like, that's a lot of responsibilities and a lot of checks to sign. That could be a whole...
hires
How about
people for
Dark
most of that?
Knight rises from bed and goes into work. That's what I'm interested in. It's a pet peeve that they're only superheroing around. Yes, that's part of it. But give us a three-dimensional picture. Like Michael Knight, the Knight Rider, and Kit. Kit is a talking car, and that's pretty cool. I want to see Kit. But Michael Knight has to take Kit in for an oil change sometime. Kit has to go into the shop, get the transmission fixed. That episode, Michael Knight takes the bus to solve crime.
I mean, they do the repairs when it's not a crime going on, you know, and things like that, so... He might have an unusual talent. He might have a weird superpower. Let me guess, Superman power, the other guy wouldn't want any superpowers because he hates them so much, right?
Shape-shifting. If I could
The
shape-shift,
shape-shifting
I wouldn't have to
detective.
work out and watch what I eat every single day. And I can still have this figure.
Smart. Plus, you could be anyone as well, and you know, do anything. She does nothing for a living. She would be fine stranded on the desert islands on her own. She doesn't want a job. She'd tell her younger self to just give up the rat race and never be in it. She wouldn't care about the money. Her accomplishment being off the rat race. Typical day in her life might be interesting. She's probably broken some laws as well. Let's hear the typical day in her life.
Describe a typical day in your life.
I live in my
Foraging.
van now by choice. When I wake up, I usually drive to the gym so I can work out and get a shower. After breakfast, I usually work one of those food delivery apps for about an hour. I can't stand a normal job, but I can handle those apps in small doses. Once I'm done, I relax for the rest of the day. I go to the beach a lot. Every day feels like a day off because I don't have a regular day job or a boss to deal with. It's pretty great, to be honest.
I don't know, just living in your van and like lying on the beach all day sounds very boring. You know, you get nothing because you're just stuck in your thing all day. It's probably cheating everyone. Controversial unpopular opinion. Let's see that.
What
Society
is
sucks,
your
probably.
most controversial or unpopular opinion?
I believe that we should bring back public execution. We're already executing people in 27 states. Why not sell tickets? I know some people really hate the death penalty, but they should love this idea. Executing these prisoners in private only helps the masses not to think about it. Making it public will bring attention to it, and it gives the rest of us something to do.
Just
That's
use
the end of
something
this
to
round.
do.
We'll soon find out who will be going home after this message from our sponsor. Today's episode is brought to you by Rebecca Cartwright. Have you been injured in an automobile accident or
Have
hurt
you?
on the job? Has your case already been settled and you've been awarded a large sum of money? Call Rebecca Cartwright, 555-1258.
You've already
Rebecca
won
is
and
25, single, and looking for a long-lasting relationship. Must love dogs.
and she wants your money
Now it's time
because
for
you
the audience
won
to vote.
a lot of money from your
Please
case.
enter the selection of the contestant you think should be going home.
Well, I think we know who's going home. It's Claire. Bye! Unless, you know, you're playing a role and you're not yourself, but you're a liar.
The votes are in. The audience has voted to send home Claire. Oh, I am so sorry, Claire.
Oh, that's okay. Thanks so much for having me. It's just been so exciting to be here. And I've never won anything, so I didn't expect to win today anyway, but I'm just glad I could take part.
Most people would
Okay,
probably
let's
want to
get
keep
started
her
with
in
round
just,
two.
you know, to see her
Audience,
answers because she's
choose your
famous.
first question.
But she's clearly a liar. Really? Okay, so we just asked the same questions over and over again. Okay. I mean, at this point, does it matter? Is there only one person telling the truth? Is that the thing? Maybe only one person is telling the truth.
What would you do with the money?
Well, my ex-wife would probably get most of it. She's supposed to get half my income, but the judge hates me, so she always gets the bigger half. But if I got money, I'd pay off my credit cards, finish paying off my bike, and finally have some money in the bank for once. That'd be nice.
That sounds fits his thing.
What is your most embarrassing memory?
Man, I once tried dating 2 girls in the same night, and that did not go well.
Yeah, not good.
I was out with this one girl, and we were having a great time. And then I drove her home. I went inside. We fooled around a little bit. That was fun. And I said goodbye. Went to this bar, and I met this other chick, and she was digging me, and I was digging her. And yeah, we left. I took her home, and it's the same home. Like, they're roommates, dude. So I'm like, okay, Joe, don't push your luck. Let's go home. But no, man, I don't know. I thought like maybe the first girl would be sleeping, or like best case,
That was dumb.
who knows, you know what I mean? So yeah, I went inside, and sure enough, the first girl sitting there like watching TV. These girls laid it on me. They got up, they yelled at me. I'm like, I'm sorry, you're beautiful, both of you. Yeah, that sucked. That was, not my finest hour. Yikes.
What is your most controversial or unpopular opinion?
I think more people should ride motorcycles.
Well,
Motorcycles
obvious.
are
That's
sweet.
going to be his thing, isn't it?
Oh, people like their hybrid cars. They only get 50 miles per gallon. Motorcycles get that kind of mileage, and they're cool, and no traffic, and they cost like a fraction of the price of a car. $5,000 for a bike, and that's a good one, dude. Yeah, bikes are sweet. Easy to find parking too.
Could probably get an electric bike as well. As
What
we
is your
guess, he
biggest
regretted
regret?
pulling a lady.
Marrying my high school sweetheart. My ex-wife. Ex-wife. No more. No, thank you. Yeah, we were miserable. And now I pay alimony every month.
Should have guessed from his other answer. There we go. Dumbest thing you ever did, marrying his high school sweetheart. Probably cheated on her. Unusual pet peeve? Sure.
What's your most unusual pet peeve?
I can't stand it when people are FaceTiming or like on speakerphone around me, like as if I'm not there, stomping around with their big loud conversation, like you're holding me hostage to your conversation. I don't give a shit. Go somewhere else.
The
What
world
happened
isn't
to,
all about you.
Phones that you had to hold up to your ear, so I didn't have to listen to you. That shit drives me crazy.
The world isn't about you. Is there new questions? There isn't, is there? Let's hear a typical day in her life.
Describe a typical day in your life.
My days are really busy. My trainer wakes me up at 8, then I hit the gym for 2 hours. I head downstairs to get breakfast. Then I take a shower, get my hair and makeup done. Then I get dressed. And I take my first selfie of the day. Then I talk to my agent and she tells me what photo shoots I have or other obligations. On the rare days that I'm not that busy, I get to come on things like this show.
Who would she like to be stranded on?
If you were going to be stranded on an island with one person of your choosing, who would it be?
I don't have the skills to survive on an island, so it would probably have to be some guy who can take care of me. Off the top of my head, I can't think of anyone, but I'm sure if I posted on Instagram, I would have some very qualified volunteers.
Yeah, you just get a lot of strangers who want to fuck you. That's all that you'd get. If you posted that on Instagram, you wouldn't get qualified people. You know, but you'd look up Bear Grylls, then you'd have someone qualified. She doesn't want a job because, you know, she's influencer. That's the most embarrassing memory.
What is your most embarrassing memory?
I was at a party once, and Lady Gaga showed up in the same outfit as me. How am I supposed to compete with Gaga? That was so humiliating.
Biggest regrets.
What is your biggest regret?
I once turned down a modeling job because I would have had to go to Milan for 4 weeks. I was in high school at the time, so I might have had to repeat a year. In hindsight, it was a very famous photographer, so it would have helped my modeling career. I should have gone.
I don't know if you're regretting that, but you're also acting like you're famous. You know, it would have just elevated you sooner. Or whatever. Most unusual talent might be interesting.
What is your most unusual talent?
I'm a really good cook.
That's not unusual.
If I had to live
People
in the
can
old
cook.
days where people had to cook their own meals, I could buy just fine.
Me too. Shocking. It's almost like people can cook. That's quite the trolley problem he's going to get. Is one of them a superhero? I would run over the superhero would stop the train.
You're the conductor.
And then he'd rant about
There are
normal
5 people
life
on the
of
tracks ahead of
person.
you who cannot get off the tracks in time. If you continue forward, you will run over and kill all 5. You cannot stop the trolley, but you can change to an alternate track where there is only one person on it. If you change tracks, the 5 people on the first track will live, but the person on the alternate track will be run over and die. Do you change tracks?
This is just basic logic. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the
Yeah, he's
few or
quoting
the
superheroes.
one. So I would change tracks to kill 1 instead of 5.
He's clearly never been with anyone, let alone cheated on anyone. The superheroes are boring. What's your most embarrassing?
What is your most embarrassing memory?
Oh yeah, I got an embarrassing memory. My most embarrassing memory.
Watching Superman
was-
5.
Okay, so I was maybe like 4 or 5 years old, and we were at a neighbor's house, the Harrises. They were the only house on the block that had a pool. So we'd go over there for summer afternoons, pool parties. So I was in the pool this one time with my dad, and I told him I had to pee. And he told me, just go in the pool. That's what everyone does. So again, I was really young. This was like,
Well, the public swim pools, again. It's even worse in public swim pools, but, you know, people are just like, everyone pees in
So
the swimming
that
pool.
became a normal thing. I would go, if I was in the pool, I would pee in the pool. Well, one summer, again, I was very young, maybe kindergarten. There was a big pool party. It was a birthday. Everyone was there from my class, the neighbors, and I had to go. I wasn't in the pool. I was standing right outside the pool, and I figured, oh, if I have to go, just go in the pool.
Did he
And I
piss
did.
into
I
the pool
stood
from
there
outside? That's
and peed into the pool. I quickly learned that that was wrong. Everyone was horrified.
Yeah, no, if people can
They
see
cleared
you
out the
doing
pool.
it,
Party
then-
was almost over. It was like I ruined
Yeah.
the birthday, and that stigma.
Yeah, don't just
stuck
stand
with
at the
me.
side and piss into
Let's
it.
see, that was kindergarten, almost until high school. Yeah, I was the pool peer. Not my proudest moment.
Dumbest thing you ever did. Sounds like same thing. Most serious law he's ever broken. Happiest memory. proudest accomplishments. Okay, he's not going to want superheroes. Let's see what law he's broken.
What's the most serious law you've ever broken?
I would say the most serious law I've ever broken is sneaking into a movie. So, in 2015, Star Wars The Force Awakens was coming out, and there was an advanced sneak preview screening beforehand. And it was invite only. So I figured out a way around that since I wasn't invited, but I did want to see it. I'm not going to tell you what theater it was or what theater chain because I do not want to get a phone call from their attorneys. But the night before this advanced screening, I went to a movie at that theater, and then I stayed in the theater all night long. I hid in the bathroom, slept there, and then the next day, I was in the theater for the screening. And there were a couple of seats opened. It wasn't completely full. So I got into the sneak preview. I saw The Force Awakens early. I'm not proud of it. It's probably a big felony, but I would do it again.
Proudest accomplishment, probably doing the same thing. Typical day in his life.
Describe a typical day in your life.
Well, usually my day is going to revolve around what I'm watching and what games I'm playing. So, work aside, when I have free time, I'm going to be binging something. And just got done with The Last of Us, binged The Mandalorian, currently watching The Winchesters, and then I'm going to play video games, gaming, a lot of RPGs. And I am immersed in that world. I take gaming very
Let me guess, he's playing
serious.
Baldur's Gate 3
and
and
one
he's
more thing I
fucking
take very
everything.
seriously.
Because he can't in
Snacking.
real life.
I will always have some snacks on standby and some beverages. And I like playing with snack beverage combos. Yeah, that's pretty important. That's my day.
Bad. Snack beverage combos. Like, okay. Just eat what you enjoy and drink what you enjoy. Don't need to min-max snacks. Biggest regrets not asking out the girl that you liked in high school, I bet, right? Controversial or unpopular superheroes he hates. Dumbest thing you ever did. That one might be interesting.
What is the dumbest thing you ever did?
Dumbest thing I ever did. How do I choose just one? Okay. I was camping outside a store waiting to buy a game console. So it was going to be released, and I wanted to get there early. I wanted to make sure that I got one. And I set up a tent. I was going to sleep outside the store.
Maybe yes,
I was
no
there
one else waited in
28
line.
hours.
And you could have just walked
in my
straight
tent.
in.
The night before the store opened, when they were going to sell the console, it was go time. I went to sleep in my tent, had my phone with me. I didn't have any way to charge my phone, and my alarm didn't go off in the morning because my phone ran out of juice. I woke up 3 hours after the store opened.
How
and
sad, because I put in a pre-order for the console, and
in a tent
I just
on a
showed up whenever I
sidewalk.
wanted and got it.
Got back
I paid £1 in
problems from
advance and just went in and got it. I didn't queue
For
up
what
for
ended
shit.
up being no reason whatsoever.
I didn't queue up for shit. I just put a pre-order in at Game. It wasn't Game though. It was whatever Electronics Boutique became. Future Zone, Electronics Boutique. Then it became something else. It might have been Game. It became Game eventually, but I think it was whatever it was in the interim stage before Game, because yeah, It changed rapidly into a lot of different game things, but it was still basically the same shop. Favorite holiday? She doesn't care. Worst way you've betrayed a friend might be interesting.
What's the worst way you've betrayed a friend?
I gave a lot of my friends chlamydia. In fairness, some of them probably had it already. We're all very open about our sexuality. That's just the type of people I vibe with.
Sure, the hippie commune that you're all fucking. What's the most embarrassing guilty pleasure?
What is your most embarrassing guilty pleasure?
Walking naked through the woods. I'm much more comfortable around trees and flowers than I am around people.
He might have broken some interesting laws.
What is the most serious law you have ever broken?
I smoked a lot of weed in states where it wasn't legal yet. I guess I've technically sold it too, which would be a more serious crime. I was never a drug dealer, but if I bought a bunch and then some of my friends bought off of me, I guess that's technically selling drugs, even if I'm not charging them a markup. In terms of legal penalties, that would be the most serious. The penalties for drug-related charges are ridiculous in this country.
So if I gotta find one person that is telling the truth out of all of them,
What
and the
is
rest are all
your
liars.
biggest fear?
Global warming and pollution. Humans are killing this planet. Nature doesn't fight back, so humans are the only ones who can save the planet, but we're the ones it needs saving from. So the Earth is pretty much doomed.
What's her proudest compliment living off society, off the grids? Clearly, you know, she's just admitted chlamydia. She's gonna have been cheating on everything. What's the dumbest thing she ever did?
What is the dumbest thing you ever did?
We heard they were going to cut down a huge area of forest, so about 20 of us went out there the night before to protest. We chained ourselves to trees so they'd have to delay their logging until they could get rid of us. Only we were in the wrong place. They were logging about a half a mile away, so no one knew we were there for almost a week. By the time someone found us, we were out of food and water, and we thought we were going to die. The guy who found us went to ask the loggers for help, and they had to cut down the trees we were chained to in order to free us.
They could
All
have
we
surely
accomplished
just
was
cut
getting
the
an extra 20
chains.
trees cut down and almost dying in the process.
Yeah, I can see how that would be embarrassing.
What is the dumbest thing you ever did?
This rich couple used to pay me to sit for their dog. And one day he died on my watch. So I buried him in the backyard, replaced him with a look-alike from the local pet shop. The couple comes home. The new dog won't stop barking, yapping, nipping. I said he was acting normal during my watch. I got paid and I left. Anyway, he ends up biting one of them. So they put him outside, where he digs up the original, who turns out wasn't as dead as I thought. So they decided they needed to call me, text me more than dozens of times, asking me why I would bury their dog alive and try and replace them with an evil clone. I figured there was no way explaining my way out of that one, so I didn't reply.
I mean, clearly she wanted the evil clone to take over, and she probably did want it to die, right?
What's your most unusual pet peeve?
I hate it when people whistle. Or sing.
Too happy.
Or hum. Or
I
smile.
mean, did I like goth singing?
Or breathe.
She might have an interesting
You could
superpower.
have
Then yes,
any
magic to
What would you choose?
summon things.
Necromancy. Anyone.
She wants people to die,
can
but
take
then
a
she
living
wants to
person, turn them
turn
into a
people
dead
back to
one.
life.
To take a dead one, turn them back into a living one. That would really be something. Just imagine if you really hated somebody.
And just so she can kill them and then bring them back to
Bring
life
them
and not
back.
get caught.
Kill them again.
Oh. Just so
Bring them
she can
back.
keep killing them.
Kill them again. And then they'd have to live with the anticipation, knowing that eventually you're going to find them. They just don't know when. They don't know how. Plus, having your own legion of the undead would be pretty useful.
No one said that you would have power over them. What would she do with the money?
What would you do with the money?
I'd start my own cult, dedicated to summoning Cthulhu and bringing about the end
Cthulhu.
of
I've got
days.
Cthulhu. He's even better. Who needs Cthulhu?
What is your most unusual talent?
I'm an expert at falconry. I have a small collection of extremely well-trained birds of prey. I find owls to be particularly useful.
Useful
That's
for
the
what?
end of this
Hunting?
round. We'll soon find out who will be going home after this message from our sponsor.
After these short
Today's
messages.
episode is brought to you by OneSock.com. Does it always seem like you have an odd number of socks for some reason?
One sock.
OneSock.com lets you buy one
When you only need
individual
one
sock,
sock.
so you can finally even things out.
But how do they
That's
match it to your other
onesock.com.
sock?
Use offer code TRUTH, and they'll include a second sock absolutely
course.
free. Now it's time for the audience
But
to
then
vote.
it's not one sock, is it?
Please enter the selection of the contestant you think should be going home.
I'm sending home Joe because he's just a role and, he's just playing a very simple role.
The votes are in. The audience has voted to send home Joe.
That's fine.
He doesn't even
My
care.
ex and her loser boyfriend would probably get the money anyways because our legal system sucks. So, whatever.
Let's begin round 3. What is the worst way you've betrayed a friend?
I sorta stole someone's boyfriend once. Well, it wasn't her boyfriend. My friend Brooke had a really big crush on this musician, and I told her to DM him, but she was too nervous to, so I DM'd him for her. He wasn't interested in her, so he ended up asking me out, and we dated for a bit. I can tell it made my friend a little uncomfortable, so that was one of the reasons why I broke up with him.
I think she's lying.
What's the most serious law you've ever broken?
I used to have steaks flown in from this place that I love in France. I stopped when I found out it was illegal to import meats. I don't know how serious of a crime that is, but I'm glad I never found out the hard way.
I mean, she obviously is an influencer, right? Or model, or whatever. If she could have any job, she's already living her dream job. Biggest fear?
What is your biggest fear?
Getting a pimple. I've known people who have had one and they say it's awful. That's why I do a strict regimen of cleansing, toning, and moisturizing to make sure I don't get one. I heard it can happen to anyone.
Also looked like you had one on your heads. Like on your forehead, and it's covered with makeup. What would you do with the money?
What would you do with the money?
Oh, I have a financial advisor that handles my money for me. My parents use them. They're really good.
That wasn't a very good answer, was it? What's your proudest accomplishments?
What is your proudest accomplishment?
My proudest accomplishment. I would probably say when I hit 1 million followers. That wasn't my only milestone, but that one definitely stuck with me.
I think if you had 1 million followers, more of us would know who the heck you are. That would be the right thing, the heroic thing to do. What's your proudest accomplishment? Write in a movie, probably.
What is your
Having it made
proudest
into a
accomplishment?
screenplay.
My proudest accomplishment was getting a perfect score on my SATs in the 8th grade. So I got a 1600. It did take me 3 tries. Almost had it on the 2nd try, but took it again. And I guess you could say 3rd time's the charm.
You took 3 times to do your SATs, and that's your proudest accomplishment. I don't think that's good. That's shit. That's your proudest accomplishment. You took 3 times to pass your SATs. Jesus. What's your biggest regret?
What is your biggest regret?
My biggest regret. Okay. Years ago, I used to work at a video store. Back in the day and age where they actually had video stores, where you didn't have everything at your fingertips streaming. And I worked with this girl named Rebecca, and we got along so good. We were jokey. We had banter.
So you never asked her out.
The thing I was oblivious to at the time was that she was flirting with me. Like, she was into me.
Are you sure?
And the crazy thing is, I had a crush on her, but I was in the dark to her feelings about me. But now, years later, I can think back. I'm like, oh yeah, she was totally flirting with me. She, like, how did I miss that?
I mean,
yeah,
if this guy is telling the truth, he's a major dork that's never been with anyone, and like he didn't even ask out the girl that he worked with that he likes.
Take that one to my grave.
And now he's old, and jeez. What, he writes scripts, or does he make a living from that? What's his biggest fear? Living alone, probably. Let's just ask what he does for a living. But yeah, oh my god,
What do you do
like,
for a living?
Jesus Christ, just ask her out. You know, do things with her. Jeez. Don't
going to
live with
ask that you
regrets.
reserve
Ask out the person
judgment.
you like. Don't be a douche.
When I tell you that I am an auditor for the IRS. Now, I know a lot of people think that we are inherently evil, that we are monsters coming to take your money. No, okay? We are not evil. We're not going around trying to harass people. We don't want
So
to
he just
screw
writes
over
scripts
the
on the
little
side.
guy.
He
And
actually
here's the
works
thing.
for the
If you make an
IRS.
honest mistake on your taxes, we will send you a notice about it and ask you to settle the difference. Or if we find that you didn't include a form, a W-2 or something, send it to us. We're good. Now, if you are some rich person who's intentionally trying to game the system for your personal gain, then that might be an issue. Those are the people that get audited. The big muckety mucks who are who are just greedy. Then we will come after you.
Looking less truthful now.
What is your favorite holiday?
Just because that's a completely different job to everything else that he talked about.
Yeah, my favorite holiday is definitely Pi Day. March 14th, 3/14, aka 3.14, as in
Except it's
pi. And
14th of the 3rd here, because we do
love
things
it. It's not an
sensibly. It's
official
day, month,
holiday.
year.
Yet, anyway.
You know, it
but
doesn't make sense. Oh, month
every
first.
Pi Day, I go to a competition
You do
where, first off,
minutes,
there
seconds,
are many
hours?
varieties of pie, blueberry, apple. We indulge, and then
you do
there's
10
the
singles,
competition part of
hundreds?
it, where they see who can name the most numbers after the decimal point from memory.
3.141592653.
I named 1,826 numbers from
No
memory.
one cares about
but
that much.
that's not the world record, and I don't know if I'll ever get close to
No
that.
one
World
cares
record.
once you pass
70,000
6.
from memory.
70,000.
Happy Pi
Nobody
Day.
cares. Nobody cares.
What is your most controversial or unpopular opinion?
Okay. Well, my most controversial / unpopular opinion, a lot of people say that it's pretty bogus that Superman
I
just puts
knew
on a
it!
pair of
It's
glasses
just like,
and
oh,
becomes Clark Kent,
superheroes.
and no one knows who he is. No one can recognize him. I actually think that checks out. See, I've thought about this a lot. Now, if there's this
I mean, there's a
hero,
bit more to it than that,
and
but I've
then
gone to
you
the
see
supermarket without my
someone
glasses
who's
on,
kind of your
my
normal
hair in a
neighbor,
bun, and
you wouldn't associate
people
that.
didn't recognize
Like,
me.
your mind wouldn't go there. So, like, here's
Just
an
because
example.
I'm not wearing my
Let's say
glasses and I've got my hair tied back in a
you have a
ponytail.
neighbor who looks exactly like Barack Obama, but his hair is a little different, and he wears glasses, and he's got a normal job. Let's say he works at a gas station, and you wouldn't say,
And these were people
my
that
neighbor,
knew me and recognised me in the shop,
who
so
works
you
at
know.
the gas station, has glasses, is ex-president of the United States, Barack Obama. You'd say, oh, that guy kind of looks like Barack Obama, but it's not Barack Obama. Same thing. You wouldn't say, oh, Clark, who is a cub reporter for the Daily Planet, he can't be Superman. He's a bumbling goof. He slightly looks like Superman. Remember, Clark is uncoordinated. Clark is bad at life. Superman is the best. So you would not.
Yeah, but that's also a deliberate thing to do with the cover,
I think it
isn't
would
it?
totally work. Unpopular opinion, and I stand by it.
There's also people are just dumb. They're like, they don't look for, oh, that person looks similar. They're just like, oblivious. Happiest memory, probably killing some animal, right?
What is your happiest memory?
When I was in the 4th grade, our teacher had a seizure in front of the whole class and died. We got to go home early. It was a double win.
Your proudest accomplishment.
What's your proudest accomplishment?
I once had these neighbors who liked to hang outside on their porch all day, blaring terrible music. I thought I could take a bat to their stereo myself and end.
Not a baseball bat, but a flying bat, right?
They, of course, had cameras. So I took a picture of their stereo and posted it to Craigslist under the free stuff category. Got somebody else just to take the whole stereo away. As a bonus, they also took all of their patio furniture. They never hung around outside after that.
Well. What's your biggest fear?
What is your biggest fear?
Having to get one of those normal peasant jobs. One where there's a boss to report to and a clock to punch. I tried it when I was younger, and it still gives me nightmares. Not the fun kind.
Okay, so what does she do for a living? Probably works at a mortuary.
What do you do for a living?
I have a small stand in Hollywood where I read people's fortunes from tarot cards. Now, tarot cards don't actually predict the future, but most people don't know that. Most fortune tellers will also keep their predictions vague so they can't get caught when they're lying. I don't do that. I tell all of my customers that they're going to die in a horrific car crash about 2 years out from the day they come see me. I love seeing their reactions. Plus, the really stupid ones pay for longer sessions so they can ask me a bunch of follow-up questions.
Biggest regrets.
What is your biggest regret?
That's easy. There are many people I've encountered in my life who I didn't kill, even though they clearly deserved it. And now it's too late. I wouldn't even know where to find them.
Okay, so she didn't kill people. That's her regret. Said she works on those apps, and that's what she does for a living. She doesn't want a job. Superpower might be interesting for her.
If you could have any superpower, what would you choose?
Chlorokinesis.
Chlorokinesis. Okay,
It's
so
the
she
power
can
Swamp Thing has
move
that lets him be one with
plants.
plant life. I'd love to be able to communicate with nature on its own level. Plus, if I had a power like that, I'd really be able to help save the planet.
So you want to be Swamp Thing. Okay. Most embarrassing memory.
What is your most embarrassing memory?
I came across a small group of people protesting outside a chemical plant, and I got excited and I called all of my friends, and we all joined in to show our support. Chemical plants are always terrible for the environment, so we were more than happy to be a part of the protest. But as it turned out, it wasn't a protest at all. It was a picket line. The plant was temporarily shut down while all the workers were on strike, and all of us extra people showing up helped convince management to give in to their demands and end the strike. We were trying to get the place shut down, but instead we got them to reopen it earlier than they otherwise would have. So, yeah.
There's a few too many coincidences that you're making things work out for the corporate people when you're doing things and things are backfiring for you, huh?
What would
Also,
you do?
her hair is too tidy, and she's too clean to
Pharmaceutical
be
companies test
doing-
drugs
living in
on
a van.
puppies and other small animals all the time, then just abandon them when they're done. Someone needs to do something about it. If I win, I plan on using the money to open a rehab center so I can help those poor puppies recover and live
Her
normal
top
lives.
is literally brand new as well, and far too for someone that's doing 1 hour of working on a delivery app, and also you can't pay for even petrol and food for the day doing that, so no. Even if you can scrimp and things, but that also contradicted what you said on some of the other things as well. I mean, if we ask what she does for a living, she contradicts her other
If
thing.
you
That
were
would tell
going to
us
be
everything.
stranded on an
But we
island
know
with
that
one
she's
person of
lying.
your choosing, who would it be?
I know the standard answer is to name someone really hot who you want to sleep with, but that's actually pretty cruel. You're basically condemning the person you picked to be stranded on a deserted island. That's a pretty awful thing to do to someone.
Well, the other guy picked Putin
no.
to strand,
I'll be
so
stuck on the island by myself.
I mean, one.
That's a lie.
This is embarrassing. Forgot I was hooked up to a lie detector. I'd pick Chris Hemsworth. Sorry, Chris.
And he didn't tell us not to lie when there were other blatant lies, did he? No. What do you do for a living?
What do you do for a living?
I escaped the rat race a few years ago. I cut all my expenses drastically, so now I only need a few $100 a month to survive. I deliver food through those gig apps, but only 2 or 3 orders per day, just enough to get by. I find if I make more money than I need, I just end up buying stuff that clutters my life and makes me less happy.
You live in a van, so you don't have room
That's
for
the end of
stuff
this
that
round.
clutters, do you?
We'll soon find out who will be going home after this message from our sponsor.
These short messages.
Today's episode is brought to you by placebos. Are you a hypochondriac? Ask your doctor if placebos are right for you.
Yeah, I don't think
Now it's time for the
placebos
audience
are
to vote.
gonna fix anyone.
Please enter the selection
Especially
of
if
the
you know they're a
contestants
placebo.
you think should be going home.
Okay, well, Autumn, your time has come that you have to go home. You are a liar.
The votes are in. The audience has voted to send home.
And literally, you were
Autumn.
caught lying in the
It's
other
probably
thing.
for the best I didn't win. Lots of money rarely leads to happiness.
Let's start round 4.
Because why would you be in the show if you didn't want the money? And you don't need that. Okay, let's ask what you do for a living in lady.
What do you do for a living?
I'm an Instagram model.
Yeah, no
I
shit.
still live with my parents, but I can move out if I wanted to.
But I think you're also a liar.
Our house is so big that I feel like it would be a waste to move out. We have so
You
many
live with your
empty rooms, I'm not
parents.
even sure if I've seen them all.
And your parents just also happen to be super rich. Okay. What were you like as a child? Probably as creepy
What
and
were you
weird
like
as you
as a
are as an
child?
adult.
As a child, I was
Oh,
always
of
watching
course,
cartoons.
you know, and you're watching the
after school,
cartoons,
Saturday
nostalgia,
morning,
binge watching them
whenever I
still
could,
now.
and playing video games.
And you're still doing that to this day.
Lots and lots of video games. And I gotta say that a lot of my friends today are people who I've met playing online video games. So I guess I haven't changed too much.
Not at all. It's still a giant man-child by the sounds of it. He hasn't cheated on anyone because he hasn't been with anyone. The words say he's betrayed a friend. Probably stole their armor in World of Warcraft or something.
What is the worst way you've betrayed a friend?
Well, I try not to betray friends, but okay. I spoiled Avengers Infinity War for several of my friends and coworkers. So, opening night, I saw it twice.
Yet he
I got my
hates
tickets in
superheroes.
advance for 2 showings.
Why
right
would you
in a
watch
row,
it
back
back
to back?
to
I was
back?
in the theater for like 6 hours.
Dies of
down
cringe.
Infinity War, and it was awesome. But I'm like, okay, Friday, maybe people haven't seen it yet. Over the weekend, I saw it 2 more times. I go into work Monday. I assume that everyone has seen it. It's a phenomenon. It's like the movie
Really,
grossed like $2 billion.
whole weekends, that's
I don't
all
know
you
how much
waited.
everyone saw it. I assume they all saw it opening weekend. And I
No,
started
not
going
everyone's
on
like
about
that.
the people we lost, the Avengers we lost, the snap. I really spoiled that movie for a lot of people. I had a lot of apologizing to do that day. And if you're watching, let me just say once again, I am so
And
sorry.
I still haven't seen that movie, but again, you know, the snap and everything, a lot of people spoiled that,
I am now keeping it spoiler free.
even though you just spoiled it. You know, I've just spoiled it, but I'll keep it spoiler free from this point onwards. What's your favourite holiday?
And what is your favorite holiday?
I think it's a tie between Memorial Day. There's more murders in the US on Memorial Day than any other day of the year. And All Hallows Eve, when the boundaries between the land of the living and the land of the dead are the thinnest.
I mean, you're fitting the role, aren't you? If you could have any job, what would it be?
If you could have any job, what would it be?
Supreme ruler of Earth.
Of course.
You said any job. Who wouldn't want to rule Earth? If anybody says anything else, they're lying, and their lie detector should go off. Totalitarianism can be a very effective form of government with the right ruler. Look at Vlad the Impaler. Sure, he has his critics. Some have said his methods were too harsh. But look at his empire and how smoothly it was run.
I mean,
Hardly
he
any
could be telling the truth as just like a very, very crazy goth
I could be the
lady.
next Vlad the Impaler.
Having Daisy's crazy goth ladies with similar beliefs who like dictators and things like that. You know, but is she just playing the role?
If you're going to be stranded on an island with one person of your choosing, who would it be?
Jeff Tucker.
Who? Jeff Tucker must die.
He's an old boss of mine.
It's a movie.
I really hate him. If he were trapped on that island with me, I could torture him endlessly, and he'd have no chance to escape.
So most of them really haven't answered that with someone that they actually want
I
to
could be
be trapped with.
entertained for
They're mostly thinking like, I would take someone I hate. except, you know, the one that wanted to take Chris Hemsworth just because she fancied him. Have I asked you who you would be trapped on a desert island with? You've probably cheated on someone. Your favourite holiday, the most expensive and divulgent place in the world. Just memory. What do you like as a child? I mean, you have your dream job, your childhood dream. What advice would you give to your younger self? Just do things better, earlier, sooner?
What's your happiest memory?
When I was 8 years old, my parents bought me my first pony. They made sure it was a surprise by telling me I wouldn't get one until I was 10 years old. Then I went outside, and there she was, with a big bow. It was extra surprising because it wasn't even my birthday.
Trolley problem! That might be
You're the
interesting
conductor
for
on a runaway trolley. There are 5 people
Dave Kim
ahead
takes
of you
forever to
on the
answer
track
this
who do
question.
not have time to get off the
Sorry, I
tracks.
don't know his actual name.
If you continue forward,
Harry
you
Kim.
will run
Dave
over
Kim?
all 5 and
Harry
they
Kim.
will die. You cannot stop the trolley, but you can change to an alternate track where there is only one person on it. If you choose to change tracks, the 5 people on the first track will live, but the one person on the alternate track will be run over and die. Do you change tracks?
She doesn't, because she doesn't want responsibility.
I don't know anything about trolleys, but if I had a job driving one, I'm sure that they would teach me how to handle that situation in trolley school.
Childhood dreams to be rich and famous, she's already living it. She doesn't need the money, so she'd likely return it. Favorite holidays, let's see that. That might be interesting.
What is your favorite holiday?
My birthday falls on Christmas, so I get double presents every year.
Well, that's probably why they gave
What can I do with
you
that?
a pony not on your birthday, because if your birthday is Christmas, right? Was your childhood dream? If you could have any job, what would it be? I mean, like I said, you're just living your dream, aren't you?
What was your childhood dream?
I'm a huge Disney fan.
To be a Disney
When I was growing up,
princess.
all I ever wanted to do was date a prince and live happily ever after. Then I grew up, and I realized how unrealistic that fantasy is. I've dated a prince, and they're not charming
No,
like in
they're
the
not.
movie.
Bum, 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 bum. He'd be the screenwriter, right?
If you could have any job, what would it be?
If I could have any job, I'd like to be the continuity supervisor on any Star Trek TV show. There are so many mistakes that would have been so easy to fix if only someone caught them in time. I'd love to be that someone.
You'd love to be that someone? Let me tell you why there's mistakes.
As somebody who worked on a Star
17 to
Trek.
22 hours a day. Sometimes people mess up on continuity.
Yeah.
All right? Relax. Just relax.
Just relax, these
I just
Star
want to
Trek
say I'm
boys,
so
yeah.
sorry. Because in the moment when I was thinking about my dream job, I literally forgot that you were on Star Trek.
How could you forget?
And you have boldly gone.
You can't be much of a fan if you forgot that Harry Kim was on Star
Thank you for your
Trek.
service. And yeah, I am sorry for being so nitpicky.
How could you forget Harry Kim? Oh my god, he was one of the main characters. Maybe you just didn't like Voyager that much. Or maybe you were just staring at 7 of 9 or Balana Torres too much. But how could you forget Harry Kim? I like Torres. He was my type. Okay, trolley problem. She'd run over the 5. Has she ever cheated on anyone? Worst way she's betrayed a friend might be Question?
What is the worst way you've betrayed a friend?
I don't have friends, but I have betrayed people. When I was in high school, there was a girl in my class who told me she wanted to kill herself.
Oh, you told her, just go ahead.
And I could have helped her, but I didn't.
Wow.
And in hindsight,
It's because you want to kill
I
people.
wish I had. I ran into her recently, and she's married to a loser, has 2 ugly children, and works part-time as a waitress.
You mean she's happy?
If I had helped her commit suicide back then, she wouldn't be suffering like that.
She's not suffering though, is she? She's happily
I offered to
married
kill
with
her
her
now.
family.
But apparently it's too late. She doesn't want to die anymore.
Yeah, because she's happy. Funny that.
What were you like as a child?
I had a big bullying problem when I was in school. I would speak to guidance counselors, the principal about
There
it,
weren't enough people for you to bully.
but every time we thought it was under control, something would happen. Like one day, a group of children decided to hold a spelling bee at lunch for fun. What was I supposed to do? Not beat any of them up.
Okay. You have... What's your biggest fear? That they'll make another sequel to Marvel series?
What's your biggest fear?
Okay, my biggest fear, and this might be uncommon, but I am afraid of things that can't really happen, or things that are like an optical illusion but aren't possible in real life. So for example, M.C. Escher paintings, like a staircase that starts nowhere and leads to nowhere, and walls and architecture that are not possible in real life, or opening a door and a room is upside down,
These are weird
or
fears.
just objects that move through space and do not abide by the laws of physics. Because I'm a logical person, I'm trying to wrap my head around these things, and because I can't get a toehold in logic into how that setup is occurring, I lose my bearings. And that is my biggest fear.
I mean, we're gonna have to ask. He hates superpowers so
If you could have
much.
any superpower, what would you choose?
Any superpower? I'd have to go with Mr. Mixelplix's magic. Now, it might be a deep cut for some people. He's great. He's
Say that name
an imp
backwards.
from the fifth dimension, DC Comics, and he's part of the Rogues Gallery of Superman. And if you can mess with Superman, you've got some powers. And I just like that he's wily and weird. But
Yeah, say that name backwards again,
one
because I feel like you
weakness
might have played him
he can
in
wind up in prison in the
Lois
fifth
and Clark
dimension
now
if
that
he
you
says his
mention it.
own name backwards. But come to think of it, I've never said my own name backwards, so yeah, should be fine. Yeah, let's
They wrote
definitely
it
go
on
with
a
Mixelplix.
Christmas present to him backwards
That's the end of
to
this
trick
round.
him.
We'll soon find out who will be going home after this message
These
from our
messages from
sponsor.
our sponsors.
Today's episode is brought to you by the letter
For
K.
Kryptonites.
Now it's time for the audience to vote. Please enter the selection of the contestant you think should be going home.
I mean, Alexis is totally the lead liar out of these two.
The votes are in. The audience
Seen
has
Sam
voted
and
to
Lilith.
send home Alexis.
That's okay. This was fun.
You're rich
And
anyway.
isn't that the point of a game show?
It's now time for our final round.
Okay, so we have 5 questions and 5 is it. So you're going to have to ask all 5
Have you ever
questions.
cheated on anyone?
No,
Because you've never
And-
been with anyone.
I don't think I ever would. Not even if I had the chance.
Not even if you had the chance. If
Although
you
I
had the
did
chance.
Cheat on a math test once in junior high. And I couldn't live with myself afterwards, so I wouldn't even cheat on a test again.
What is your happiest memory?
I'm going there in my mind right now. Absolutely my happiest memory.
Why is some of it so quiet?
Going to see The Phantom Menace on the big
That movie
screen.
was shit.
Star Wars Episode 1. You see, let's rewind.
How is that your
I
happiest
thought
memory?
I
That
would
movie
never
was shit.
see new Star Wars in my lifetime. So when that came to pass, and I found myself, but
It was the
in
biggest
seat,
disappointment of your
looking
life,
up
surely.
in a theater, brand new, taking me to a galaxy far, far
Although
away.
he might like it.
The
He
iconic
probably likes Jar
scroll,
Jar.
the Star Wars logo, the score.
And
John
then the disappointment.
Williams. I can honestly say I was never happier.
And then the
Now-
movie happened and it was disappointing.
Quality overall of the prequels, that is another conversation. But for that frozen moment in time,
So yeah,
Kill me
the
now.
introduction before
I'm good.
before he saw the movie, it was his happiest memory. In which case
If
he
you
hasn't
found
had a
a
good
wallet,
life, has he?
would
If
you
that's his
return
happiest
it?
memory.
Okay. So if I found the wallet, the question of whether or not I'd return it depends. Now, if it was
Of course, he's an
1%er,
IRS.
a wealthy individual,
He hates the wealthy.
and that wallet was filled with money,
But as an IRS agent,
I
surely you should do the responsible thing and give it to
might
whoever it
take
actually
the
belongs to.
money and return the wallet anonymously. If it was seemingly like just a regular person, regular working stiff, then I think I'd just return the whole thing. But if it was a Gucci wallet with gold around the sides, black card, the whole nine, I might have to take a little for myself.
Again, so quiet. You know, you barely
What
hear
was
him.
your childhood dream?
You know, my childhood dream was always to be the first or youngest person to accomplish something. Like, I would have loved to have been the youngest person ever to graduate
You
from
took your
MIT,
sats 3
or
times.
youngest person ever to travel to space. But as you grow old, you start to lose that dream, because when you're 9 years old and you publish an article in a physics journal, that's amazing. When you're 35 years old and you do it, you're just a nerd.
What advice would you give to your younger self?
What advice would I give to my
We should have kept Claire in for her entertaining answers.
Okay,
But
first,
obviously
I would
lying, but
make
she
sure
would
to
have
tell
been the most
myself
entertaining,
to buy
right?
stock in Microsoft, Apple, and Netflix, and hold on to it until at least 2019. Don't sell it until 2019. And then I would actually tell myself to start playing chess early and often, because I was late to the game. And
I know
I
chess
love
is popular
chess,
on Twitch,
and I'm
but
pretty good at it.
you know,
But I don't think I'll ever be great at it. And you have to start young, and you have to play early and often if you want to be
seems you have to dedicate your whole
truly
life at it, which is like
exceptional at chess. And
rather not.
I really believe that if I did start young, I could have been one of the greats, because I see everything it takes to be exceptional. Yeah, I would tell myself to start playing chess early. Join the chess club.
You're the conductor on a runaway
She wants to
trolley.
run them all
There are 5
over.
people on the tracks ahead of you who cannot
She'd
get off
run
the
over
track
the
in
5
time.
and jump out and kill the other
If you continue
one.
forward, you will run over and kill all 5. You cannot stop the trolley, but you can change to an alternate track where there is only one person on it. If you decide to change tracks, all 5 people on the original track will
Because
live.
killing
but
only
the
5
person
isn't
on the
enough. She has to
alternate
get
track
out and
will
kill
be
the other
run
one
over
as well
and
herself.
die. Do you change tracks?
So if I stay on the first track, I get to kill 5 people without the possibility of getting in any trouble whatsoever. But if I change tracks, I only get to kill 1, and there's a possibility that I go to prison. Why would I possibly change tracks? Is this a trick question? Is there a way to kill all 6?
Yeah, you hop out of the train and kill the other whilst the
If there
train
is, I
runs
don't
them
see
over.
I'd stay on the first track and settle for 5.
You hop out and kill the witness, obviously. Because he sees you run over the 5, but if you leave the train to run over the whole 5, whilst you're not in it, you're not in control. And then you shoot the last one. So no witnesses! And you get to kill all 6 then.
Have you cheated on anyone?
Of course I have. I don't answer to men. If I choose to hook up with a guy, he should be eternally grateful.
Who said she had to
I
be
certainly
interested
don't have
in
any
men?
obligations to him afterwards.
If you found a wallet, would you return it?
I found a wallet once. I looked up the owner on social media. It turned out to be some racist, sexist loser who was inexplicably
Yeah, how
married.
are all these racist,
I kept
sexist
the
losers all
cash.
married?
And I went to return the wallet to his home when I knew he would be at work. I told his wife that he left it behind during a one-night
Nice.
stand.
What was your childhood dream?
I've always wanted to be possessed by a demon. That's still my dream. Maybe one day I can make it happen.
Is that what you do with the money?
What advice would you give to your younger self?
Don't ever join a witch coven. It'll seem like a good idea at the time. But the people calling themselves witches these days, they aren't practicing real witchcraft.
Yeah, nobody is.
They're such a disappointment.
That's the end of this round. We'll soon find out who will be going home after this message from our sponsor.
After this message.
Today's episode is brought to you by Vegas Tales, the full-motion video game from the makers of Truth. A wealthy resort owner is dying and needs you to help decide who should inherit his estate. You'll be interviewing some
natural
over-the-top
thing.
characters and helping choose who will become extremely wealthy. Be careful, as there may be more to some than meets the eye. Vegas Tales is available now on your favorite gaming platform. Now it's time for the audience to vote. Please enter the selection of the contestant you think should be going home.
Okay, so this is the toughest choice because Lilith, it's an obvious goth name as well. It's too obvious. Like, you know, she's playing a role well, and it could be, and he's too dorky dork, never been with anyone playing the big geek role. Is nobody telling the truth? But giving it to the dork. He needs the money. He's got a sad life.
The votes are in. The $1 million prize is going to Sam.
For real? Wow. I cannot believe this. I'm not usually the winner when it comes to stuff like this. I've never done stuff like this, but this is amazing. I can't wait to start working on my film.
Sam used the prize money to produce his movie. It was panned by many critics and performed poorly at the box office. Thanks largely to Sam's unique writing style. Yeah, it did sound shit. It eventually became a sleeper hit as it got found by audiences who appreciate Sam's odd sense of humour and unusual take on drama. It's now considered a cult classic amongst fans who know how to appreciate a really good bad movie. I mean, he's put £1 million into a really bad movie. Like, was he telling the truth? Did it matter who we picked? Like, was there a lie? Was there a truth? You know, I guess we got to ask a lot of questions and find out things, but at the same time, like, did we solve anything? It didn't. It missed an intro and an end. You know, there was just the asking of questions. There's no options, nothing. There's a lot of bad audio in this as well. I'm sorry to say, you know, the audio levels of Sam at a lot of points were like super, super, super quiet. There were weird cuts and things, and no payout, you know? There's no intro, there's no lead up explaining, this is the game, this is what you've got to do. We are trying to today pick out the one truth teller from the liar. Or I think that's what we're meant to be doing. Or are we just awarding someone £1 million and asking questions? Is there only one liar? Are they all liars? Is there only one truth teller? Are they all just liars and all characters? Do we get an ending that explains what everyone does with the money if you pick who gets the money? Did we win? Did we find the one truth teller? You know, it just leaves a confusing, abrupt ending. All you did was ask questions and pick someone to win the money. I think we found the truth teller. But, you know, it feels hollow because there's no beginning, lead up, there's no introduction, it's poorly written. Like his sleeper hits, you know, there's no lead up to it and there's no proper ending. It just feels, you know, it's just the content of the questions. There's no what was really tie it all together. You know, it needs a big lead up and a beginning and a satisfying ending. And, you know, have we found the one person that's telling the truth? You know, Harry Kim could have told that as like the question, you know, and the drum roll, because it's a game show, and it's like, you know, the big reveal is this the person that was telling the truth, and then either a like ka-ching or a wah 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 sort of thing. You know, it's like you haven't told the truth, but then they do what they want to do with their illicit money that they won if they, you know, aren't actually telling the truth. Maybe the others would have done it on different things if they weren't telling the truth, and there might have been something interesting, and picking the person that told the truth might be the least interesting ending because he just spends it on what he said he's going to spend it on. I don't know. But, you know, find out for yourself by playing Truth and trying out the different things, and, you know, you get to listen to all the things that Claire would have said, because it's completely off the rails and clearly lies. What happens if you pick her? But yeah, and like replayability is going to be challenging because there is clearly no way to skip the answers if you've already heard them. So yeah, that's what I'm going to call it a day. I'll be back on tomorrow with something else because, you know, time break. beta tomorrow. So I'll be playing that tomorrow, not Friday. We'll be back on tomorrow, then Friday as well. But have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll catch you soon. Bye 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 bye.